Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And we got a humongous matchup to start Week 14 not to start Week 14, it's the Sunday night game in Week 14, but we got a huge matchup in the NFC East in Week 14 as we got the Eagles, who come in at 10-2, losing last week to the 49ers, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 4 in a row, and Dak Prescott has played probably as well as any quarterback these last 4 weeks. So this game should be a great game. It should be a great game between these two teams. It should be just like the first game was, close, come right down to the end. I think that if DeAndre Swift plays, he'll have a big game on the ground. I think Dak will have a big game through the air. I think Jalen Hurts will throw a couple touchdown passes too. I think this game goes back and forth. It comes right down to the end. But I'm going to take the team with the better roster and the team that has proven to be good teams this year. The Eagles beat the Dolphins. They beat the Chiefs. Cowboys have the best team the Cowboys beat was the Seahawks last week. The Cowboys have not beaten good teams this year. And until I see it, I can't pick it. So I think it's going to be close. It's going to come right down to the wire Sunday night. But I'm going to take the Eagles to pretty much wrap up the NFC East for the second year in a row and win this game 31-27 over the Cowboys. But, Justin, can Dallas get revenge from Week 9 and get into a tie into first place in the NFC East?
I think they do. They should have won the first meeting, and I got the Cowboys this one 28-24. Dallas kind of, near the red zone in the first meeting, just couldn't convert, late in the game. As well, they had an opportunity to win late and, just couldn't cash in. And I think in this one, I think Dak Prescott, he's going to spread the ball around to CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. I think both those two guys are going to have huge days because the Eagles secondary has really struggled most of the year. And I think Dallas will be able to pick that apart. And Dallas's offense at home this year, they've been world beaters. I know the Seahawks, it's the best team they've played at home last year, and that's and the Seattle defense isn't great, but Dallas has been rolling at home. And this Eagles team's good. I'm still like with Jalen Hurts, like I feel like it's the same thing with like Michael Penix. Like he's not 100%. He's still putting up big numbers and they're still playing well, but like I think that knee is still kind of bothering a bit. And I think Dallas at home, I think they find a way and to score enough against that Eagles secondary and get a big one at home.
Yeah, it should be a close game. It should go either way. And you made a good point about the Eagles secondary. It's not been good all year, and the Niners exposed that last week. The Eagles team is not what it was on the defensive side of the ball. It definitely isn't what it was last year, especially in the back seven. They miss guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They miss guys like T.J. Edwards. They miss James Bradbury isn't playing anywhere near as well as he was last year. So this Eagles defense is not the defense that it was last year, and they're not even as deep on the defensive line. So their defense is definitely not as deep as it was last year. But Jalen Hurts right now, to me, is the MVP of the league. And I don't see him losing 2 games in a row. I know there's a very good chance the Eagles could lose Sunday night, but I just don't see, from the way the Eagles lost last week, I just don't see Jalen Hurts losing 2 games in a row. And the Cowboys, they just have not beaten a good team all year. They have not beaten a good team. So, I mean, yes, the Cowboys have a very good chance of winning. I just think the Eagles pull it out. I think the Cowboys don't have that championship DNA. The Eagles do, and I think they prove it on Sunday night.
Yeah, I could totally see that because, the Eagles getting their Super Bowl last year in Dallas, we know they're kind of the playoff woes that they've had over the years. And, yeah, they've gone there, and I think this is kind of the year for Dallas. In the year that Dak Prescott's been putting up, he's been great. Yeah, maybe some of the game, like that Niners game, I know. Like, I can't get, like, Dallas is definitely good enough, but, like, I just can't get that Niners game out of my head as well, just how bad they were beaten in that football game. And yeah, that could be a problem kind of January, and I could see it, but I just right now the Eagles have been kind of playing with fire all year. Like, I know they got killed last week, but like the Bills should have beat them. Even the Chiefs had them beat, and the Chiefs had the fumble there in the red zone late in the game. Like, they've been kind of playing with fire, and last week they got burnt, and I could see Dallas this week at home finding a way to knock them off and kind of getting a tie up there in the NFC East division, still kind of trying to play for a chance, maybe somehow outside shot to get that 1 seed with because they still got Detroit as well coming up in a few weeks.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very crucial stretch for Dallas. They got the Eagles. They got the Dolphins in 2 weeks. They got Buffalo after that, and the Dolphins, then Detroit. So a very, very crucial 4-game stretch for Dallas. And if they could win all those games, they have a very good chance to win the division or even get the number 1 seed. And this leads us to my next question: is the winner of this game going to win the NFC East? And I think if it's the Eagles, they'll definitely win. If the Eagles win the NFC East, they definitely win because they pretty much would have a 3-game lead with 4 games left to play. So if the Eagles win, they definitely win the division. Dallas, I don't know. I don't know if they win the NFC East. I still think it may end up going, even if Dallas wins this game, I still think it might end up going to the Eagles because you look at the schedules down the stretch. Dallas still has to go to Buffalo, go to Miami, and play the Lions, where the Eagles, their only tough game out of their last 4 is going to be in Seattle on Monday night because they finished the season with 2 home games with the Cardinals and Giants, and they play the Giants on the road to finish things off. So I think if the Eagles win, absolutely. Cowboys, probably not. I still think the Eagles win the division.
I agree with that. Yeah, if the Eagles win this game, they'll be 2 up, and with that schedule, I don't see them losing. There's no way they're losing 2 games out. Maybe like that week 18 if everything's locked up, the Giants kind of upset the Eagles, but I don't see them losing 2 games. And yeah, with the Cowboys, that schedule's tough, or much tougher there with the Bills and Miami back to back on the road. Those are the Bills are going to be fighting. If the Bills can, I know we'll get the Bills Chiefs, but if they could win, the Bills still kind of have a fighting chance there. So, try to make the playoffs. So that'll be, that could be a tough one. So yeah, I'm with you. Like the Eagles win today, or on Sunday, 2 up. I don't see any possible way they blow a 2-game lead with only a couple weeks left.
Yeah, they should not. There's no way. If the Eagles win this game, there's no way they're not winning the NFC East. Now they might not get the number 1 seed. San Francisco could beat them out for that because the Eagles could lose in Seattle, and then San Francisco can win out, and they get San Francisco can get the number 1 seed. But yeah, if the Eagles win Sunday, the NFC East is a wrap. It is all over if the Eagles win on Sunday. But one of the big stories going into this game is the MVP race, and both these quarterbacks are in that race. The big question is though, whatever quarterback wins this game, should that quarterback be the front runner to win the MVP? And for me, I'd say yes. I'm still tired. Brock Purdy should not be in an MVP conversation. I'm tired of that. The only reason the 49ers don't have the number 1 seed locked up is because Brock Purdy didn't play well in the 3 games that they lost. So I am tired of Brock Purdy being there's no way Brock Purdy should be in an MVP conversation. I get that it's a quarterback award, but there's no way he should be in the conversation. Christian McCaffrey has a better case to win MVP than him. So Brock Purdy should be out of the conversation. But for these two guys, whoever wins this game, I think they absolutely should be. I think that for Jalen Hurts, I mean, where would this Eagles team be without Jalen Hurts? They wouldn't be in first. They would still be a playoff team, but they wouldn't be in first place in their division. And I think you say the same thing with the Cowboys. Both these quarterbacks have played phenomenal football this season. And I think that whoever wins this game, that player should be the front runner for MVP.
Yeah, I'm with you. With Jalen Hurts, the only thing that worries me is the 10 INTs because that's up there kind of towards the league leaders. The 10 INTs bother me a little bit, but he's still been awesome and yeah, he's been great and their offense has been rolling and yeah, with Dak and the Cowboys, he definitely deserves it. Like that, for the year, they Kellen Moore once goes to Chargers, Mike McCarthy's been calling the plays and it's been a huge difference. Like Dak Prescott's played really, really well this year. He's completing, over 70% of his passes. So yeah, I think the winner should. I think Dak, if the Cowboys win, I think Dak should. I have Jalen Hurts like second, third. Like I have like Tyreek Hill, I think should be up there for what he's done with Miami. I know he'll probably get Offensive Player of the Year. He's probably gonna win that one. But what Tyreek Hill's done with that Miami offense, I think should be in the conversation. And I kind of have Purdy up there because I think Purdy. I think if any other quarterback, if like he was Aaron Rodgers, I think Brock Purdy would be in that conversation.
Yeah, but if Aaron Rodgers was on that team, they wouldn't be 9-3. They'd be probably 12-0 or 10-1.
I think one of those games, Purdy was definitely playing with concussion. I really do believe that.
All right.
I don't think he was healthy, but like. The thing with Purdy is I feel he's a point guard. Like he just distributes the ball to Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, McCaffrey. Like he just does a good job of just spreading things around.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Old school point guards like that don't win MVPs. Guys that bring you back from behind in the second half of games, like Jalen Hurts, those guys are MVPs. Guys like Jalen Hurts are MVPs. Guys like Patrick Mahomes, those are MVPs. Guys like Brock Purdy, they're good quarterbacks that could win a Super Bowl with a great roster around them, but they're not MVPs.
Yeah, but like, is it his fault that his team has a ton of talent and they're not really behind much? Like, because like that Browns game, they should have won. Like, it wasn't his fault. The kicker missed.
What about the Viking game? What about the Bengal game? Like come on.
Yeah, the Bengals one. The Bengals one, you do have a real case. I don't know because the Bengals defense stinks. I don't know what went wrong. That game, yes, like you do have a point in that one. McCaffrey didn't do a ton on the ground that game, but yeah, I think Purdy, because like I know people sometimes say Shanahan's system is like, any quarterback can run it, but like then why didn't Trey Lance work out? Why didn't like Nick Mullins work? Why didn't some of these other guys didn't work out?
I think he's clearly a top 15 quarterback. I think he is. I just don't think he's an MVP caliber player. I just don't think he is. And if you put like Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott or if you put Mahomes, Prescott, Hurts, Burrow, you put any of the top quarterbacks on that Niners team, they'd probably have at minimum one loss.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case. Yeah, I just I know some of his weapons were out. I know he was injured, but for what for what he does, he makes all the right reads or right throws for the most part. I know he had a couple games where that Bengals game he made a couple interceptions, but and I know they have all the talent, but especially too like I think of it too as if they get the 1 seed with the way they beat the Eagles and Cowboys. That's also like, okay, like those scores, like I feel like that will give him a bump. And like if they get the 1 seed, it's a quarterback award. I feel like, that will, voting as well kind of helps them out in that regard. I
understand they destroyed the Cowboys and the Eagles, but what happened in games they were behind in the second half against teams like the Browns, he's going against PJ Walker. All he's got to score is more than 19 points. The Vikings and the Bengals. I mean, I know he's going with Joe Burrow that game, but still, like, he's played well. He's just not an MVP caliber player, in my opinion. I just think the two guys playing on Sunday are clearly better than him.
Yeah, and I can see the case. Yeah, like he doesn't. Yeah, because he's got terrific weapons right there with with the Cowboys and Eagles as well. You know, like now that I think it's hope that he's got Trent Williams back. Yeah, like we haven't really seen him get behind much, and yeah, when he's kind of when he's had the opportunities to come back from behind, they haven't been able to capitalize yet. Um, like again, I know that Browns game, as I mentioned, he let him down. The kicker just misses a field goal in that game, and there's bad call. Like they should have probably won that football game. Yeah, like I just think he makes the system just fits him perfectly. I think he makes all the right throws. He's doing what he's got to be able to do. Yes, like that 3-game stretch there. I think with all the injuries, like that, like even the defense against the Bengals, they just, that's probably one of the worst games of the year. Like, they just had an off day, I think, that day. But I think he's played well enough, and I just think if you just, if if he was Lamar, like I feel like if he was any other name where he wasn't like the Mr. Irrelevant, he would be right there in the conversation.
Yeah,
I just, with the stats that he's put up.
Yeah, but I think if Lamar or as you said, Lamar, Dak, Hurts, obviously Mahomes and Burrow, if they're quarterbacking that team, they're clearly the number one seed. The Niners blew out the Cowboys and the Eagles, and they're still not the number one seed. They're the number 2 seed. I think the reason why they're not clearly the number one seed is because of Brock Purdy. If they had a quarterback that was clearly top 10 or top 5, they would be the number one seed. That's why I think there's no way Purdy should be in this conference. I know the odds are there because, the record of the team, but there's no way Purdy should be in this conversation. It should be the top 4 guys to me for the MVP should be Dak. Top 5 guys should be Dak, should be Hurts, Dak, Mahomes, Lamar, and Tua. Those should be the top 5 guys. To me, it's a quarterback award, and those should be the top 5 guys. And Purdy should not be in the top 5 for MVP consideration.
See your case. I just like maybe this team does not have the 3 losses if they have anybody else out there. I think one of those games he was playing through the concussion. Okay. Now I think that's kind of why he struggled.
Okay.
The Vikings defense got so Vikings defense has played a lot better. The Bengals one, yes, that's the one where I go, I don't understand how they lost that one, how they played that bad. But like I think he's up there. Like I have Dak 1 right now. I have I put like Purdy 2, Hurts 3. I have and then Tyreek Hill 4, and then Mahomes like 5 right now.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm Hurts 1, Dak 2, Mahomes 3. I'll go Lamar 4, Tua 5. That's my top 5 right now. Because I think those guys have played the best football of anyone this season. I think those 5 guys are the most deserving, and they play the most important position on the field. I am for the MVP award being a quarterback. I know I'm not. I don't think Purdy should win it, but I do think the MVP is a quarterback award. But in Purdy's case, a lot of there would be the 5 quarterbacks I mentioned. If they had that roster, they would have a better record than Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah, I agree. Like it's been a quarterback award. I put Hill in there just because like the difference maker that he's been. I know Tua's put up a really good stats, but like Tyreek's just on a different level. But yeah, I do agree. It's a quarterback award. It's the same thing with the Heisman as well at college. It's a quarterback award nowadays. And yeah, it's the most sports position in the sport. They get paid so much money. So yeah, but I just I think Purdy does deserve some credit, but yeah, I see your point of why you don't have him up there in like top 5 in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I just think if you put a lot of quarterbacks in Purdy's situation, they would have great records. I just think that would happen because the Niners have great coach, very good coaching, great offensive coaching, very good coaching overall, and they have the best roster in football. That's why I don't have Purdy as far up as I would have Hurts or Dak. I don't say he's not a good quarterback. I just don't have him on the level of Hurts, Dak, Lamar, Mahomes, those guys. I just don't have them on that level. But it should be interesting to see what happens. And I do think the winner of this game should be the front runner. You already have Dak as the front runner, but I think the winner of this game should absolutely be the front runner.
I could totally see. The 10 picks with Jalen Hurts is kind of the thing that holds me back a bit. But yeah, if he goes out there this week and puts up 3 touchdowns, yeah, he passes Dak in that order. So, or for the MVP. So yeah, yeah, the winner of this one, the quarterback, yeah, whoever wins this game, yeah, I think the quarterback who wins this thing should be the favorite for the MVP.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So we will move on to a big AFC matchup in Kansas City as we got the two struggling teams. We got the struggling Kansas City Chiefs at 8-4. They lost last week, and we got the Buffalo Bills who just can't win close games. They're at 6-6. This game is a huge game for both teams. Chiefs to try to get the number one seed, try to stay in contention for the number one seed. The Bills to try to even make the playoffs. And I think this game is close. Right, this game comes right down the wire. It's close. It's back and forth. But I'm gonna take the team that I have more trust late in the game. I know the Bills have won 2 out of 3 in Kansas City, but I'm gonna take the team I have more trust in late in the game, and I'm gonna take the Chiefs here. I think Mahomes throws a couple touchdown passes. I think Pacheco has a pretty good game on the ground. I do think that James Cook has a good game on the ground too, and I think that Josh Allen throws a couple touchdowns. But the Bills have been so bad in close games. I think this might come down to a game where their defense has to make a stop. And we've seen what's happened all year when the Bills defense has had to make a stop. They don't make that stop. They didn't make it against Mac Jones and the Patriots. They couldn't make it against Russell Wilson and the Broncos. And they had 2 chances to do it against the Eagles, and they couldn't do it there. I think it's the same thing that happens this week in Kansas City. I got the Chiefs winning this game 28-24. But Justin, can Josh Allen and the Bills win in Kansas City for the 3rd time in 4 games?
I think they do. I got the Bills in this one, 24-21. I really like the Bills' offense the last kind of couple weeks, because they're coming off the bye, and their season's pretty much on the line in this one. And, so I think they're able to kind of come in here, figure it out. The Chiefs defensively are coming off their worst game of the year, in that Sunday night game against the Packers. And that offense is still just with the Chiefs. It's just not clicking. And I'm at this point, I don't think it's going to click. It's already December. It's just the wide receivers there's been a lot of drop passes this year from them. And I think the Bills go in there. I think Josh Allen plays well enough, and again, Allen this year in 10 of his 12 games, he's thrown an interception. Like he's got to protect the football. He can't give this Chiefs offense here in Mahomes, like a short field, something like that. But I think the Bills just coming out the bye. I think their season's pretty much on the line here Sunday, and I think they go in there to Arrowhead and find a way to knock off Kansas City.
I definitely can see it happen. I mean, they've played well. They've played really well at Arrowhead. They've won 2 of the last 3 times, twice in the regular season. We all know the loss they had in that great play, that classic in the playoffs. But yeah, they played well. They've played well here, but they just haven't played. But the problem is they haven't played well this season. This is the worst team Josh Allen has had since 2019, and and it's not all Josh Allen. He's not played great football. They played good football, not great football this year with the turnovers, but it's also been the defense. This defense has just not made a big stop where it counts. How do you trust this defense if they're up by 1 score in the 4th quarter to win the game? I just don't trust it at all. That's why, even though I don't love Kansas, even though Kansas City hasn't played great either this year, I just trust Kansas City a little bit more.
Yeah, I could see it. It's like they do have Mahomes late in the game, and yeah, Mahomes can make it happen, but Mahomes can't go catch the football either. Like those wide receivers have to catch the ball, and I don't trust some of those receivers right now. So yeah, I know the Bills. There's been a ton of defensive injuries this year, and I know that's kind of affecting them. But if they can, but I feel like with that, and the Chiefs' offensive line is good. But with the Bills are playing up ahead, and I think late in the game with that pass rush, I think they could get after and pressure Mahomes enough, and I could that defense could definitely give Mahomes a touchdown late in that game, and the Chiefs could definitely get the win. But I think the Bills kind of realize that. Look, because you look at all the quarterback injury in the AFC right now, the Bills can make a run as a 6-7 seed. If they can get in with all the injuries right now, and the Bills probably kind of know that there's still a lot of talent on that team, but I see this Bills team kind of knowing the season on the line. They found a way to go in Arrowhead and knock them off. And
that's a great point, because this leads us to our next question. Are the Bills Super Bowl contenders if they win this game? And I think they absolutely are. I think this would be a huge win for the Bills, because if you look at the Bills, yes, they haven't played well this year, but of all the teams that are competing for the playoffs, the Browns, the Steelers, the Colts, the Texans, the Broncos, the Bengals. This team clearly has the highest ceiling because they have the most talent. They've been there before. They have a ton of playoff experience, and they have the best quarterback. So I would say absolutely. If they win this game, they're absolutely Super Bowl contenders. They absolutely can be a dark horse team in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely could. Yeah, with the injuries throughout the AFC right now, that's a team they sneak in as like a 6, 7 seed. Who's ever the 2 or 3 seeds, not going to be too
Yeah,
happy.
that's the team you're not going to want to play in the first round. If they
No.
somehow sneak in, because if they sneak in, they're going to be playing good football. They'll at least win 3 of their next 5 games at minimum. They very easily, probably if they get in, that means they've won 4 out of 5. So they're playing well at the right time. So yeah, this is definitely a team you don't want to play if they sneak into the playoffs. Like you said, a 6 or 7 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we just talked about the Chiefs. Like, I know Mahomes, it's, things are setting up for Mahomes and that Chiefs to be the 1 seed yet again. But, you mentioned the Bills have had some success there like that, like the Chiefs haven't kind of looked great at times this year, especially offensively. So, yeah, like I think the Bills, and I think maybe because we've seen the Bills kind of in the playoffs, they've struggled at home in January because they haven't been able to run football. Maybe going somewhere else kind of helps them. Maybe having that underdog card where they've kind of been the favorite or one of the favorites, and there's more pressure on them. This year, they kind of go in there, yes, like I think people expect them that they have a shot to win, but like they're not. They want all the pressure. I don't think would totally be on them either this year.
Yeah, no, there'll be more pressure on the Ravens. There'll be more pressure on the Chiefs. There'll be more pressure on the Dolphins to win a playoff game because the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in years. So yeah, they definitely there would be pressure on Sean McDermott because he might lose his job, but still there probably would be more pressure on teams like the Dolphins and the Ravens and the Chiefs if they get in the playoffs than that.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe that helps them out a bit. So yeah, there's definitely going to be more pressure on other teams in the AFC this year. So yeah, and Josh Allen, they go up against them. You expect Kenny Pickett to be back for the Steelers or the Browns. Whoever starts for them in the playoffs. Like, the Bills should win those games. Josh Allen's a better quarterback. So yeah, the Bills, they definitely pressure on kind of McDermott. He might lose his job, but things don't go well here down the stretch. But yeah, the Bills they should be Super Bowl contenders, kind of. If they find any way to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. They definitely should be. Now, getting to an AFC matchup, one team who is absolutely pathetic, another team that is trying to fight for the postseason. We got the Pats taking on the Steelers tomorrow night in Pittsburgh, and for Pittsburgh, if they want to make the playoffs, they got to win this game. They definitely, this is a must win for them. They want to make the playoffs, and I think they do. I think that Trubisky will make enough plays in this game. I think they'll force a turnover from Zappy. I don't think they score a ton of points, but the Patriots offense is the worst in football. It's absolutely pathetic. I mean, it's embarrassing how bad they've looked on offense. I think that continues this week. I think this is a sloppy game, but I'm taking the team that still has something to play for, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Patriots on the offensive side of the ball are horrendous. Who would have thought after getting rid of Judge and Patricia? I mean, I didn't get rid of Judge. I kept Judge on the staff. But after getting a new offensive coordinator this year, I didn't think the offense would be great, but I never thought it would be this pathetic. The Patriots offense is pathetic. I'm going Steelers here 17-7. But Justin, can the Steelers lose to another terrible team and continue to hurt their playoff chances?
I would think not, because the Patriots have scored 13 points in the last 3 weeks, and another record that Bill Belichick has broken. They're the first team since 1938 to lose 3 straight games when their defense has given up 10 points or less.
1938.
Yeah.
1938. The Patriots.
The Chicago. It was the Chicago Cardinals.
Oh my
Chicago
God.
Cardinals. So,
1938. The levels of futility with the Patriots are just continue. The futility of the Patriots just continues this year. And they every week they just find a new rock. You think it's hit rock bottom when they lose to the Giants? They find a new rock when they lose to the Chargers.
Yeah. Like the thing with their offense has been, it's like they'll drive, and then it's like when they get to right around field goal range or the red zone, things just fall apart. It's like, when they were about to enter the red zone last week, Zappy takes a sack, then they had a false start, and then it just, everything just falls apart for them. So yeah, again, Zappy protected the football, but let's be honest, there's a reason why he didn't start until week 13. So
they got shut out. They didn't score a point.
Yeah. Yeah. So at home against the Chargers defense has not been good all year. So that was sad. But I was hoping my Kings were going to win so I could put this game on my laptop. But of course, they fail me as well, like usual. So yeah, I'll have to suffer through this ugliness. And I would love to see a 0-0 tie. Well, I would, but then or I would like to kind of like to lose like 3-0, something like that. Like, I guess it's gonna be ugly. This is not gonna be fun to watch. And fortunately, there's not a ton of college basketball games on tomorrow night either that can, trying to make myself more excited with than this garbage that we are putting out. And yeah, just hope we get the 1 seed because this I got 10-3. This is Patriots defense didn't play well, but yeah, their offense they ain't gonna do anything.
Absolutely horrible. And we're not even going to get into the Belichick stuff because we'll get into that. We got time to get into that. The Patriots are just so pathetic offensively, and the Steelers they'll be without Kenny Pickett. They'll be without Kenny Pickett. But does it really matter? Is there really that big of a difference between right now? It's set. It's not good for them if there really isn't a difference. They wish there was. But is there really that big of a difference between Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett? Not really. So I think it's a Steeler win in a low-scoring game, and they go to 8-5, and the Patriots go to 2-11.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. Yeah. Mr. Busy, yeah, we'll probably make enough plays, and maybe the Patriots get a turnover or two, but I just their defense really hasn't been able to do that a ton this year. But so yeah, I can't imagine the Steelers lose another one, especially to a team that just can't score. Like, unless the Steelers just hand them 14 points, I don't really see how the Patriots win this football game.
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. We will go to the Monday night game, one of the Monday night games this week, as the Packers, the red hot Green Bay Packers, who won 3 in a row, face the Giants, who have won 2 in a row. But in this game, I think the whole story, and it's been a nice story with Tommy DeVito, but I think that story could come to an end in this game because Jordan Love has played great. The Packers and Jordan Love have played great these last 3 weeks. Jordan Love, 8 touchdowns, no picks. For the Packers, and look at the teams they beat. They beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. They beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Jordan Love has been playing really, really well. That's why, as we say, the Bills have the highest ceiling of all the teams fighting for the playoffs in the AFC. The Packers definitely have the highest ceiling of any of the teams fighting for the playoffs in the NFC. I mean, they got a higher ceiling than the Vikings. To me, they got a higher ceiling than the Seahawks because of the way Jordan Love is playing. They got a better quarterback there. I think they definitely have a higher ceiling than the Rams. I mean, to me, they have a higher ceiling than the Saints. Any of the teams fighting for a playoff spot, the Packers have the highest ceiling of all those teams, and I think they take care. I know the Giants are hot. I know they've won 2 in a row, but these are not the Patriots. These are not the This is not the Patriots' offense. This is not the Commanders' defense. The Packers have a better defense than the Commanders, and they definitely have a better offense than the Patriots, and that's going to show up Monday night. I know it's going to be a windy night, so the game might be a little bit. The Giants might have a chance. The game might be a little low scoring in the first half. But in the second half, the pass rush of the Packers is going to take over. I think they sack DeVito and even force a turnover or 2. I think Jordan Love throws a couple touchdown passes. Like A.J. Dillon does a pretty good game on the ground. And that's why I get the Packers winning their 4th in a row over my Giants. I get the Packers winning this game 24-10. But, Justin, can Tommy DeVito lead the Giants to their 3rd straight win?
I'm with you. I don't see it either. I got the Packers 20-13. Yeah, DeVito's he's played pretty well the last couple of weeks, but as you mentioned, yeah, Jordan was again a couple of weeks ago. Kind of felt like, man, the Packers get like a top 10 pick. Are they gonna just go with a pick a quarterback in the first round here and move on from Love? But he's really improved the last few weeks. He played really well Sunday night yet again, and I think the Packers are able to kind of do enough in this game. And I think the Giants are gonna have success running the football with Barkley. Especially if you mentioned if it's going to be windy, I think that's going to be kind of huge.
That should be the game plan. It should be 12 personnel and try to run the football. I don't care if Green Bay is trying to stop it. 12 personnel, get out of 11 personnel, 12 personnel. I don't care if they know it's coming. Try to run the football and have DeVito go off and have DeVito and run play action with DeVito. That's the only chance I feel like you have in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if they have success doing that, maybe they could find a way to score enough here and their defense makes enough plays to slow down the Packers offense in this one. But with the Packers, I know the Giants still have a very outside chance of making the wild card, but with the Packers right now, the way they're playing, they fighting for a wild card spot. I think they go into MetLife and win the game Monday night.
They should. And the only chance the Giants will have is run the football and don't make Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary be a factor. You'll know very early if the Giants are going to be in this game If they can't run the football, it's not like they're playing the Patriots and the Patriots will just score 7 points. They're playing the Packers. They're playing a quarterback that's red hot and is playing really good football. So yeah, if the Giants can't run the football, it's gonna be a really tough game for them, because that pass rush of not Zadarius Smith, but of Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith is going to be all over Tommy DeVito, and I think that's going to force Tommy DeVito to make some mistakes. So and listen, I'm happy the Giants are starting DeVito over Tyrod Taylor, because Tyrod Taylor, you kind of know what he is. He's pretty much a game manager. Tommy DeVito, you don't know. So just play the unknown the rest of the season. I don't mind if the Giants are starting Tommy DeVito, but I think he's going to have a rough game here. And listen, if he has a rough game, do not bench him and put Tyrod in. Keep DeVito in until this team is completely uncompetitive in games. If the team is competitive, I don't care if they're losing. If they're competitive in games, you keep Tommy DeVito in. But I think it's just going to be a tough night because of the weather conditions and because the Packers are playing well, and they're just a better football team.
Yeah, absolutely. With DeVito, because this is the final year of Taylor's contract. You get one more year.
Yeah, I think it's the last year of his contract.
Yeah, and you guys are paying him pretty well for a backup quarterback. So next year you can get a pretty cheap backup quarterback. So
we'll just keep DeVito. We'll just keep DeVito on the roster.
So that's what I meant. Like that's what I meant. Like keeping DeVito as like a very cheap backup quarterback option. That he won't win you many games, but he hasn't really turned the football over, and I think that's like a huge. That's the big thing. I feel like, for like a backup quarterback, if you don't really just turn it over, you give your team a chance to win. That's what he's done the last couple of weeks. So so I'm with you. I think Tommy DeVito should just start the rest of the way. Just you kind of figure out what you have in him. Just kind of keep building him up a bit as well with the first teamer. So I'm with you. Don't really point to putting Tyrod back in there, because you know what he is.
Absolutely. So we will move on to another game in the Meadowlands this Sunday as the Texans take on the Jets. And what a disaster the New York Jets are in their quarterback situation. It's the worst quarterback situation. And the Patriots have the worst offense in the league. The Jets have the worst quarterback situation in the league. It is a mess. They've just announced they're going back to Zach Wilson. There were rumors this week that Zach Wilson didn't even want to go back in there for the Jets. And then even worse, Joe Beningo said on this, there was this situation with Joe Beningo where he said on the fan that Saleh texted him that he didn't even like Zach Wilson. And then that got out and Saleh called him for 25 minutes saying, you misinterpreted what I said. So then he had to go on FAN on 2 shows yesterday and apologize. So it is a disaster. But the fact that's even out there, the fact he's texting with an old radio host about the team and about the quarterback is even bigger mess. This is such a disaster. The only reason I think this game is close is obviously the Jets defense is one of the best in football, and the weather is so bad. It's going to be bad at the Meadowlands on Sunday, 25-mile-an-hour winds expected. So I do think that keeps them in the game, but I think it's more the same for the Jets. The defense plays well, the quarterback plays terribly, and they lose. And that's why I got Houston going to 8-5. Winning this game. I think Houston's defense made some big plays. Will Anderson had a big week. You're starting to see the Will Andersons and the Derek Stingley start to step up. This team's got a great future in Houston. I'm telling you, a great future in Houston with some of their young players on defense and CJ Stroud. I know they lost Tank Dell, but they got a great future. But I got them winning 17-10 over the Jets. And I ask this question every week. It's a kind of a rhetorical question now. Can the Jets defense help them end their 5-game losing streak?
No, I got the Texans as well here, 21-13. Feels like every Giant home game this year, the weather's been brutal this year.
I know, exactly.
They ever get a nice day.
No, they rarely do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one of those years, but I got the Texans this one. They should be able to take care of business. You got to go back to Zach Wilson. It sounds like that.
They had to. They pretty much have no choice. Looking at their options at quarterback. I mean, they might be able to start Simeon in the game, but that probably would have been a disaster. They would have been back to Wilson next week. So why not just take the best quarterback, and even though he's the worst quarterback in football, he's the best quarterback on their roster, and they just cut Tim Boyle. Yeah. And I don't even get why Tim Boyle was even in the NFL, or he was on that
Rodgers
team.
Boy.
I know exactly why. Yeah. And they, all Rodgers' guys have not worked out for that team. Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Nathaniel Hackett, none of Rodgers' guys have worked out for that team. But there could be a good chance they're all back next year if Rodgers wants them back, because Rodgers is the GM of that team.
Oh yeah, you could tell. He is, the way he goes on McAfee's show and just talks about everything. Just
exactly, yeah.
McAfee's getting his money's worth. He's paying $1 million, something. He's getting.
He's giving him all this information.
Oh yeah, it's worth it. It's been worth it for him. So yeah, Rodgers runs that show there, and yeah, the Jets have been an utter disaster. And Patriots Jet Week 18, that
Oh my
quarterback matchup.
god! Oh my god! That's going to be that. That
That's
game's
gonna
going
be
to be 6-3. It's gonna be like
yeah.
last year's
They're
game,
10 to
like
yeah,
ten
the
to
punt
three or
return
something like
touchdown.
that.
That was
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah, and this one, this is gonna be another ugly football game. I think Stroud plays well enough. I think the Texans, because the Jets, the one weakness of Jets is been stopping the run. I think I know that the Texans have been great running the football this year, but I think this should be one of their better rushing offenses performance in this game against the Jets. And I think the Texans kind of keep rolling. I know they're going to be out, or Dell might be out, or is going to be out, and Dalton Schultz could be out. I know he's still questionable in this one, so it's going to be maybe tough to throw the football around. So I think the Texans do it on the ground. I think the Jets aren't able to do enough. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets offense puts their defense in a bad spot too.
Yeah, they will, and I think the Jets lose their 6th in a row, losing to the Texans on Sunday, 17-10. But we got a big matchup in the AFC as the Jaguars go to Cleveland to face the Browns. And again, with Trevor Lawrence probably being out of this game, I think this is going to be a really, really low scoring game. This could be Joe Flacco against DJ Beathard. This is going to be a low scoring defensive battle. But I'm going to take the home team here, and it's going to be another really bad weather game. I'm going to take the home team here to win it in a close, low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Browns to beat the Jags 16-10. But Justin, can the Jags bounce back this week and put themselves in a real good position to win the AFC South?
I get Cleveland as well, 17-10. The Cleveland defense has been, they're so like this year at home, the Browns defense only gave up 10 points a game. In one of those games, they gave up 28 to Baltimore when Dorian Thompson Robinson started. So like it would be even better if you take out the 28 points they gave up against Baltimore. But on the road, they're giving up 30 points a game. So it's been very odd for how bad their defense has been on the road. But playing at home, CJ Beathard, I know he looked pretty good when he came in relief for Trevor Lawrence last week, but going up against this team, I think it's going to be a tough task to score against this Browns defense. I think they're going to get after Bedford. And, I would assume Joe Flacco starts again. And he actually threw the ball really well. You gave him time, and he came in. He had a really couple nice throws last week against the Rams. So coming off the street, pretty impressive performance from Joe Flacco. Did not see that coming. So I think the Browns at home are able to take care of business this week.
I think the big question with Lawrence probably missing time for the Jaguars is, can they still win the AFC South without him? And I think they still can, because I look at the schedule. I think they'll lose this week. They'll lose to the Ravens. But I look at the last 3 games. Tampa on the road. That'll be a tough one with CJ Beathard. But the last 2, you got Carolina. They should beat Carolina, and then Tennessee. So they should win those last 2 games, no matter who the quarterback is. So I actually think that the Jaguars are going to win the division, because they're 3-1 against the beat the Colts twice, and they split with the Texans. So I actually think that the Jaguars are going to end up. I think they'll still win. They won't go anywhere in the playoffs, but I still think if Lawrence misses a significant amount of time, I still think they win the division.
I think they do too, because that schedule. Yeah, they probably lose this week. They'll probably lose next week at home against Baltimore. But yeah, like their last 3 games at Tampa Bay, it's still probably battling for an NFC South. But like that's going to be a 13-10 game, something like that. I feel like, and then you should beat the Panthers and Tennessee on the road. They're not going to be really playing for anything that one. So yeah, I'm with you. And they probably have the tiebreakers there, and then because the Colts have a tough one. Like they got the Bengals coming off the Steelers, still at Atlanta, Raiders, Texans. So yeah, and it helps that the Texans and Colts are playing Week 18
last week.
One
so one of those teams is going to lose. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think the Jags still find a way to win that division, and we'll see how much time he misses. But I was surprised with Lawrence when he played against the Saints at Thursday night when he hurt his knee, and that the Sunday before. So yeah, maybe the high ankle sprain's usually like 3 to 4 weeks, but maybe he find a way to come back earlier. So yeah, I do think the Jags still find a way to win the division.
All right, we've got a big AFC matchup in Cincinnati as the Bengals came off a big win last week, take on the Colts, who right now have the number 7 seed in the AFC. I think this is a close competitive game, but I'm going to go with the team that's going to run the football better, and I think that's going to be the Colts. And I think Minshew is going to make less mistakes than Browning. I think Browning, he played really well last week, but I think he's going to throw a couple interceptions against the Colts. I think it's going to come right down to the end with the ball in Browning's hands, and that Colts defense making a stop and winning another close game. And I got the Colts surprisingly going to 8-5, beating the Bengals. But Justin, can Browning win his second in a row and keep the Bengals in the playoff race?
I think it's very possible, but I got the Colts as well, 23-20. Browning played really well. 32 for 37 last week. Jamar Chase had a monster game. I could, if he can get the ball to Jamar Chase like he did last week, where he had 11 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. I could definitely see the Bengals knocking off Indianapolis, and I thought Zach Taylor had a great game plan besides those 2 trick plays that he tried out.
That one trick play was really
cost.
bad. Yeah, one was really costly.
Oh yeah. Those were everything else. I thought he called a really good game besides those two plays, but I just don't see them be able to keeping up with the Colts enough in this one, because Gardner Minshew is going to have success against this defense, and do have the Colts going 8-5 and win this game.
We got an interconference matchup in Baltimore. We got the Rams heading to Baltimore to play the Ravens. This is a big game for the Ravens trying to get the number 1 seed, and a big game for the Rams trying to get into the playoffs. And I think this is a game that's close for a half. I think Kieran Williams does a pretty good job on the ground early on. I think McVay schemed some stuff up early on to keep the Rams in this game. But in the second half, I feel like the better team takes over, especially in the bad weather conditions. I think Stafford throws a pick or two. I think the Ravens do a really good job running the ball with Gus Edwards. I think Lamar throws a couple touchdown passes. And I got the Ravens going to 10-3. I got the Ravens winning this game 24-13 over the Rams. But Justin, can Stafford lead the Rams to their 4th straight win?
Now I get the Ravens as well in this one, 28-16. Stafford, that offense is, since Kyron Williams came back, their offense has been rolling the last couple of weeks, and I think he's got a good game. I think he has a good game on the ground, but I think when the Rams kind of fall behind in this one, I think that great pass rush the Ravens have is going to get after Stafford. And their Rams offensive lines played, pretty well for the most part this year, but I think it's going to be a tough task, and I think Lamar Jackson, plays well enough against that Rams defense this week, and I think just Stafford. I think they kick a couple more field goals, and the Ravens kind of find ways to punch it in the end zone.
We got a big NFC West matchup in San Francisco. It's the Seahawks for the second time in 3 weeks take on the Niners. And again, I think this game is close early. I think Geno makes some plays early on, but I just think that the Niners offense has another really big game. I think they forced a couple turnovers from Geno Smith, and I got the Niners winning this one. I think I got to win it by double digits. I got the Niners pretty much clinching the NFC West. I think they might even clinch I think they clinch if they win on Sunday, because they'd be up 4 games on Seattle with 4 to play. And I think if the Rams lose, they clinch the division. So I got the Niners winning the NFC West on Sunday, and I got them beating the Seahawks 30-17. But Justin, can the Seahawks get revenge from Thanksgiving?
No, I don't think so. I got the Niners this one, 24-17. I think Seattle will keep it close. Seattle, if Seattle can kind of protect Geno Smith, he got sacked 6 times at Thanksgiving game a couple weeks ago. If he kind of has enough time, I think they got some weapons there where they could make some plays happen. But I don't. It was last week for Geno, like one of his better games of the year. Could he kind of keep that up against a really good Niners offense or Niners defense, or do you kind of revert back to what he's been this year, where it's been a lot of inconsistencies, turnovers? We'll find out. And if the Niners can get after him early, I could really see this thing get out of hand yet again. But I think he does enough in this one. He tries to keep it close, but I don't think their defense played pretty well most of the year. Last couple of weeks has been a tough for him. But I think, but I don't think they're going to be scoring enough against this Niners defense this week.
We got the Vikings traveling to Vegas to face the Raiders. Vegas got very slim playoff homes. Vikings right in the playoff race in the NFC. And I think this game is close and competitive. I do think that the Vikings forced some turnovers from Aiden O'Connell. Vikings are sticking with Josh Dobbs. I think he turns the ball over turns the ball over once as well. So I think this is going to be close. It's going to come right down to the end. I think it's going to come right down to the end where the Vikings make a stop against Aiden O'Connell. And I get the Vikings winning this game 20-16 over the Raiders. But Justin, can Antonio Pierce help end the Raiders' 2-game losing streak?
No, I get the Vikings in this one, 20-17. I think the Raiders offense is going to struggle in this one, just, with the way the Vikings defense been playing, and they've been really good stopping the run. I think that's kind of going to bottle up Jacobs, and I think he's going to have a tough time getting anything going. And that means they're going to have to rely on Aiden O'Connell. And the Vikings pass rush has been really, really good for, for now, like pretty much almost the last 2 months now, it feels like. So, and now with O'Connell, rookie quarterback, I think, if the Vikings, you're going to make him kind of get rid of the ball quicker than he wants to. And I think there might be a couple interceptions in this game. And I think the Vikings offense capitalizes enough. I think the Raiders defense will keep them in it, but I think that the Raiders offense this week is going to have a tough time getting really a lot going against this team.
We got an NFC South matchup in Atlanta as the Bucs take on the Falcons. I think this is going to be a really close, competitive game, just like it was in Week 7. It's going to be close, competitive. It's going to come down to the end, but I'm going to go with the team who I think is going to run the football better. I think it's going to be the Falcons with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. I'm going to take the quarterback who I think is going to make less mistakes, and that's going to be it's weird to say it's going to be Desmond Ritter, but I think it's going to be Desmond Ritter. I think it's another game that comes right down to the end with the ball in Baker's hands, and I think that Falcons defense makes a stop for the second week in a row, and I get the Falcons going to 7-6 and staying in first place in the NFC South, beating the Bucs 24-17. But Justin, can Baker and the Bucs get revenge from Week 7?
Now I get the Falcons in this one as well. It's 17-13, very low scoring game. Like, feels like the Falcons are always playing in this year. But in that first one, the Bucs kind of turned the ball over 3 times in that one. That was kind of the big difference in this one. Godwin and Mike Evans both had 6 catches. Like, Baker can kind of give them the football, and they're able to kind of get some big chunk plays. I think that'll be huge in this one. But I just think the Falcons are still just a little bit better than Tampa Bay. And I know Tampa's dealing with some injuries on the defense side of the ball. And I think Atlanta's offense just does enough in this one that they find a way to sweep the Buccaneers.
We got another NFC South matchup, and that's between the Panthers and the Saints. I know the Saints haven't been playing that well, but they should have no problem winning this game. I think they're able to run the ball with Kamara. I think it doesn't matter who plays quarterback. If it's Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, that doesn't really matter to me. I think they force a couple turnovers from Bryce Young, and I think they cruise here and they stay in the race. I got the Panthers winning this game. The Saints winning this game 27-13 or the Panthers. But Justin, can the Panthers hurt? Can the Panthers really hurt the Saints' chances of winning the NFC South?
Well, I'm hoping they will, because I am cheering for them.
You want that number 1 pick?
Yeah, the Patriots would get the tie. Yeah, because with the schedule kind of with how the tiebreak comes down to it, the Patriots would get the 1 seed right now. So yeah, I am rooting for Carolina, but I got the Saints in this one, 2017. I think it's probably gonna be Jameis Winston. Like, I can't imagine Carr's gonna pass concussion protocol, because it's the second one in the last 30 days. So I can't imagine that he'll be cleared for this game. But in Jameis Winston, again, like Jameis does, he'll make some really good thrilling plays, but then he'll make the head scratching ones. So I think they have success. Again, the Saints' problem has been it's in the red zone. They either turn the ball over, they just kick field goals, and I think they do enough in this one. I think the Panthers D kind of keeps them in it, but I just don't think they're. Bryce Young, it's kind of been rough for him all year. I think he kind of has another rough performance, but I think they keep it close. But I think the Saints at home find a way to knock off Carolina.
We got the Lions and the Bears, a NFC North matchup. The Bears nearly beat them a couple weeks ago in Detroit, and I think this is another close game. I think Goff and Fields turned the ball over once, but I do think Goff throws a couple touchdowns. I think Fields throws a touchdown himself. I think it comes right down to the end with the ball in Justin Fields' hands, and we all know what happens usually when the ball's in his hands at the end of the game. Minnesota was an outlier. We know what usually happens. He doesn't get the job done. I think that's what happens here, and that's why I got the Lions going to 10-3, winning a close one over the Bears. I got the Lions beating the Bears 24-20. But Justin, can the Bears get revenge from Week 12? And they had that big 26-14 lead and blew it. Can they get revenge from that game?
Yeah, I think they do.
Wow.
23-21. I don't really love the Lions right now.
Really? And you know what's a big loss? That loss to McNeil, that's going to be a loss if he's going to miss some games, especially if he misses like the Dallas game. That's going to be a loss, because he's a very underrated player on that defense. That's going to be a loss for them. Ragnall's hurt too, so they do have some injuries here.
Yeah, they do. And maybe I'm crazy for saying this, but the way the Bears defense is played, I kind of trust the Bears defense more than I do the Lions right now.
Montez Sweat was a really good trade for that team.
Yeah.
That's really going to help that
I was
team going
mocking
forward.
that, but
No matter what happens, what they do at the quarterback position, that Montez Sweat trade is going to be a big trade for that team.
yeah. Then see Hector's comment here. Can the Lions be that team that quietly go to the NFC Championship
I know
game?
you don't like them that much. I actually think they could quietly go there because say they get into a matchup with the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into a matchup with the Eagles either in Philly or at home and win that game because of the way the Eagles back seven is played. I wouldn't be shocked if they upset the Eagles. And even say for some reason they get the Niners at home at Brock Purdy, I wouldn't be shocked if they win that one either. So I think they very easily can quietly get into the championship game. But because I think they're going to get McNeil and Ragnow healthy. Now I feel like they have to be healthy to get there because the way they are right now, I don't know if they can get there. They got to be healthy, but they do have a chance with the way they've been playing this year.
Yeah, I could see it if they get healthy and like what Goff do. I know like the last 2 weeks Goff has looked a bit better, but like that Chicago game, he was not great to the fourth quarter. Like he's had a couple games this year where he's really reverted back to the from when he was with the LA Rams. So what Goff do I get? Kind of worries me, but like yeah, because like outside of the Niners, I feel like anybody else right now in the NFC, you can kind of beat. I don't think you go with maybe, I could maybe see them be in San Francisco if it's in Ford Field. I don't see them going out to San Francisco knocking them off. So like I wouldn't be totally shocked. That defense is just, could they revert to what they were kind of back a little bit earlier in the season? But I just, I worry about them a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked because the NFC outside of like I feel like right now like the Niners kind of the big favorites. Not big, but kind of have are the favorites in the NFC right now. But I wouldn't be surprised, but I gotta, they gotta play a little bit better than they have the last couple of weeks for me because they got to a big lead last week, but then they let the Saints kind of have an opportunity to come back and win that football game.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they haven't been playing great football, but I just think the way they've been playing all year, they've been able to pull out these close games, especially against bad teams they're better than. And I think it's going to be more of the same on Sunday. They're going to pull out a close game against a team that they're better than. But yeah, they got to be playing better football if they're going to go into a Philadelphia or they're going to go into a San Francisco in the playoffs, or if they're even going to go into Dallas and win late in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe things don't break right for them too. Would you have to maybe deal with even they get if they get the 3 or no?
They might get a Green Bay. Yeah, they might get a Green Bay. That's a rubber match there. That's a rubber match for a team that's not won a playoff game since 1991.
Yeah, like that's not going to be easy. I could see the Lions beat anybody in the NFC, but like I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of lose to anybody in the playoffs
you're right
as well.
About
so
that.
yeah,
you're definitely right about that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think they got the talent to do it. But yeah, you mentioned too, like this team, I know Goff's got in the Super Bowl, but there's not too many other guys I don't think have a ton of playoff experience on this football team.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens with them. But we got to move on to an AFC West matchup in LA as the Broncos take on the Chargers. And I think this is a close competitive game, but look at the coaching mismatch. It's Sean Payton against Brendan Staley, and I think that mismatch will show up in a close competitive game. I think this game is 24-24 at the end with Russell Wilson with the ball in his hands and leading a game-winning drive. And I think the Broncos stay in playoff contention, and they win this game 27-24. But, Justin, can Herbert and the Chargers hurt the Broncos' playoff chances?
No, I don't think they will. I got the Broncos in this one, 23-16. The Chargers offense right now, there's just not much there right now. Like
they got to fire their head coach is so bad. They got to fire. They got to fire the head coach.
Yeah, that would help. Whenever that end of the year happens, that's gonna definitely help out things there in LA because their defense hasn't been great. Quinn Johnson's kind of been a bust so far. He's really struggled catching the football. Hector's kind of here. The home team has won the last 6 meetings in the series.
Good observation there.
Yeah,
so, yeah. You wouldn't be surprised if they win that. Wouldn't be surprised the Chargers win that game.
No, I wouldn't. Even though it's probably gonna be 80% Bronco fans.
Exactly, because there's no home field advantage for the Chargers.
Yeah, there's not the poor Chargers. But I think what happened to the Broncos last week is they fell behind, and that team's built to play from in front. and Russell Wilson made a couple of bad throws last week. They kind of want to, be able to have a balanced offense. And I think the Broncos are able to do that this week against the Chargers team right now. Defense hasn't been great. They, the last 2 weeks, they did kind of slow down the Ravens there, to 13, and then Ravens scored the garbage touchdown. And probably not much of a pride to shut out the Patriots at this point, but it looks good in the stat book. But yeah, I got the Broncos win by touchdown.
Yeah, Broncos. This will be a competitive game, but I think the Broncos pull it out and stay in the playoff race. So we'll wrap up talking about the other Monday night game this week between the Titans and Dolphins. I don't think this is going to be a game. I think the Dolphins do what they do against bad teams, win and win big. I think it's the same thing Monday night. I think Tua throws a couple touchdown passes. I think Will Levis throws a couple interceptions. And I think this is a Dolphin win going away. I got the Dolphins 34-13 over the Titans. And Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got 31-13 Dolphins this one. They should do. Miami's offense should kind of get back to like last week, like they have against these bad teams. Yeah, just put up monster numbers, and I would hope Mike Vrabel's smart enough to not have Tyreek Hill to not allow Tyreek Hill to kind of have one-on-one coverage the whole time.
The Commanders did last week.
Like every other. Oh yeah, So I hope Vrabel's smarter than that, and I think he is. But I still don't think that's going to matter. I think this Tua's in a roll, and I think that defense Miami is going to get after Will Levis in this week, and this should be a blowout, and Miami should win comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah, Miami should go to 10-3 pretty comfortably this week. But that's going to wrap up this edition of Sports Talk with RJ. But we'll be back in about 15 minutes to talk about the NBA in-season tournament, the reaction to a very, very controversial ranking in the college football playoff. So we'll definitely be talking about that along with UConn's win over North Carolina and the Army-Navy game. So make sure you tune in for that.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.